What we're seeing here in San Francisco is probably the most egregious example of the growing chasm between rich and poor.
We have the highest amount of evictions that we've ever had. It's a perfect storm of greed and money.
Even though the politics have been progressive, this is the most capitalist place I've ever lived.
What's scary is people that was born and raised here, you know what I'm saying? You're being booted out.
I feel like I'm a person with no home. I didn't choose to live anywhere else. I just can't come back. That hurts.
This is a battle to save the heart, soul, and spirit of San Francisco.
How have you seen the community change around you over the last 5-10 years?
This tech industry has been an invasion.
We're in the middle of a gold rush right now. Does that make me to blame for all of San Francisco's housing woes because of the fact that I happen to be in tech?
We were forced to go over the hill to the projects, where actually, strangely enough, paid more to live in those projects than we did these houses that were owned by black folks. Is grandmother still up there? Oh, hi, Grandma. You remember me? Remember the girl with the big glasses from right there?
With the sisters.
Are you the last one who owns and lives?
Yeah.
Wow, that's incredible.
Latifah Simon doesn't live in San Francisco, where you grew up.
Yeah.
Not anymore.
Oh my God, Latifah, don't cry. My mother braided my hair on this stoop.
Wow. Her family was evicted from her home in 1997, just as the tech bubble in the late 90s was heating up. She was a senior in high school.
I mean, I just want people to be able to have the San Francisco experience that I had. Like, as a working class young woman, we weren't rich, but we had an amazing community. If people can live in beautiful spaces, their lived experiences are different.
She's living proof of the effect of gentrification on people.
When I moved into public housing or low-income housing, something happens in the mind. I dropped out for a while of high school. It was just too much. I had a baby soon after. There were certain things that just dominoed. My life started to spiral out of control. Thank God I got back in line. I dedicate my life to making sure that low-income young people have opportunities because of those years.
Her story's not uncommon.
In 1970, there was between 95 and 100,000 blacks in this city. We're now down to 40,000 blacks. What a glaring statement.
Reverend Amos Brown is the head of the local NAACP.
Urban renewal was not urban renewal. It was black removal.
Is San Francisco becoming a gated community?
Yes. It's only for the affluent 2% and the dot-commas. The middle class, particularly the middle class in the black community, is non-existent.
The tech community notoriously has this diversity problem. Do you think that that affects what's happened with gentrification in the city?
Definitely so. The tech people have lived in a silo. They've been in isolation. And they didn't come to share. They came to be greedy.
According to government data, computer programmers and developers make about twice as much as the average San Franciscan. Their wealth is driving up the rent, more than 50% since the beginning of 2012, according to Zillow's rent index.
What we are seeing here today is almost the creation of an economic apartheid system, where the wealthy are claiming this area and everyone else must leave. It's very, very destructive, and it is ultimately, I believe, unsustainable. These people driving around in their Uber black cars.
Cleve Jones worked alongside civil rights activist Harvey Milk in San Francisco in the 1970s.
Of course, I understand that cities change, but the change that we're seeing today, not only in San Francisco, but all across the world, is a complete transformation in what cities are. Cities for generations have been a place for the refugees, for the immigrants, for the poor, for working class people, for middle class people. The techies and the wealthy want their fancy restaurants, but I don't know who's going to work in those restaurants because they can't afford to live here.
Of course, not everybody thinks gentrification is bad. They point to economic growth, new business and job opportunities, and rising property values for homeowners. To get to another part of town, I hopped in an Uber, a poster child of the booming tech economy.
The route is being calculated.
But even the driver repeated a familiar theme.
pushing people out that are working here, you're going to end up with, nobody at the coffee shops, nobody at the dry cleaners, nobody at the grocery stores, because nobody will be able to get here. You can't keep pushing people farther and farther away.
Over in the Mission, where art and activism share a canvas, the Latino community also feels the squeeze of gentrification.
What is it called? Low riding?
No way. Are you serious? You never heard about low riding? I'm hitting the switch, baby, just for you. 10,000 people have been displaced from this neighborhood. We're talking about working class people to make way to 6,000 techies who now live in this neighborhood.
How quickly is this neighborhood changing?
It's just been in the last 3 years. On this block, he's proposing to build 380 luxury condos. And we've been fighting that now for 2 years and saying we don't want that here, because as soon as those luxury condos go up, what happens to the rest of the surrounding area? The rents will continue to rise.
Paris and Milano, taking over the place.
The sentiment is so pervasive that one man ran for mayor on a platform of keeping San Francisco affordable. Meet broke-ass Stewart.
There's so much brilliance here, and I want to see it used for like real good, as opposed to the next thing that delivers your dinner.
What responsibility do the tech entrepreneurs have when it comes to San Francisco and gentrification?
The problem with tech is the culture around it. It's a society set apart. You use an app to get a ride to work, and then you work for obscene hours, and then you use the app to get a ride home, and then you don't leave your house because you order your food on an app. You are opting out of being a San Franciscan.
He lost, but got about 10% of the vote.
There's a lot of frustration towards the tech community. You're a tech entrepreneur. Folks who are saying, my rent, I can't afford the rent here, I'm getting displaced, and we're losing some of the culture that made this place great. What is your response?
I definitely understand the frustration. I can see how that's tearing apart communities, and I can see how it's definitely a problem. But I also do feel like often the tech industry is scapegoated. We're not awful people. We also wanted to move here for San Francisco because we love the place, just like everyone else who wants to be here. While we agree that there's a lot of problems that need to be solved, we can be part of the solution, and defining us as the problem is not going to help that way. Really, the only way to solve this problem permanently is more housing.
It's not about pointing fingers at the employees of the tech companies. They are being used by the real powers.
What kind of legislation do we need?
We need a city government that says to the developers, if you're going to build luxury units, you're going to build below market units as well, in the same place.
We're demanding that the city build 3,000 affordable units. We're talking about affordable units for teachers. This year we had a shortage of 300 teachers in San Francisco.
Gentrification is not just about housing. It's about the way in which people live within cities.
We need to make a commitment to our senior citizens, to our first responders, to our teachers, to our workforce, that they can live here.
Each of us needs each other. As Dr. Martin Luther King, my mentor and teacher, once said, there can never be wealth without being concerned about the commonwealth. The commonwealth.
We have to coexist, because when whole communities are displaced, you lose a lot.